Well, yesterday I was down in this area of the grove. It's the back of the grove. I planted a lot of seeds here years ago, and some of those seeds have produced good fruit. Other seedlings I actually have top worked. But I was here because one of our customers wanted Madame Blanc, which is one of the varieties that I had top worked in this area. As you can tell, I can't look at certain areas of the grove without trimming. I was here in one of the golf carts, and I always have a saw, and so I started trimming these branches. Unfortunately, for the first time in this area, there was a collection of bees. I'm not sure if it was a permanent hive or one of those temporary things where, like I've seen this a few times around the grove, where there will be a huge mass of bees hanging from a branch. They're all, like cling to each other, and that is just sort of a temporary situation while the scout bees are off finding a good permanent location for them. Now, we have several permanent beehives around the property, and I know where they are and I avoid them, but I wasn't expecting anything in this area. So I was trimming branches that apparently were important to them, and they decided that they needed to get me out of there. They're pretty effective at that. So basically, all of a sudden, when I was near the trees, saw in hand, I just started hearing a lot of buzzing, really too close for my comfort. And so I, sort of went away. I don't want to, create any big target by rushing. Well, I started rushing because that was not working. The calm exit was not working. So they were really around my head, and so I was busy hitting my head, which I'm sure would have looked really wonderful on video, and ripping my hat off because they were trapped underneath the brim, and running up the hill. I think that was moderately successful, but not completely successful, because I got stung on the palms of my hands. What I did with that is I went and got a bunch of ice and just rubbed it in between my hands until all of it melted. So then I looked at the palms of my hands, and they were really red, and I'm not sure if they were red because of the bee stings or because of the frostbite that I just created on them from rubbing the ice together. But they did get this part of this hand. You can see there's a little bit of difference. This is all swollen still. And so it sort of looks like somebody else's hand to me. But, I'm sure that will go away. But they got my ear, my collarbone, just all over the place. Why I mention this now is it's a good time of year to be careful. The hives, when they reach a certain population, they will break off part of the population and relocate that part to a new hive. And I think that's what was happening here, because, as I say, I've never seen bees in this area, no permanent beehives. But I think this could have been a temporary holding place while the scouts were out finding a permanent location for this particular group of bees. Or we could have a permanent hive. In any case, the next time that I start trimming, unlike yesterday, I will have gloves on. That would have prevented a lot of the problems with my hands. But also I will try to scout out this area at dawn or dusk. Bees are very active when the sun is out, so you're pretty safe at dawn or dusk because, those times they're pretty slow moving and not aggressive, at least from my experience. So bottom line is, when you're working with any sort of landscape trees and such, be careful. Because bees can be everywhere. So there are a lot of pluses to having bees on the property, and I certainly want to keep them here and happy. Of course, I want to be happy too, which involves them not stinging me. I do know where a lot of the permanent hives are around the property, and they are great pollinators for the mangoes and other fruit trees. But this area of the grove, I'm going to have to scout out at dawn or dusk to see if I can find where those bees were coming from. If I know the location, then I can check on it if it was a temporary cluster, and when they're gone, feel safe about trimming those trees. If it's a permanent beehive, then I'll have to have another strategy altogether. So the bottom line is, you're in Florida, you're growing fruit trees, there will be bees, and it's best if you can just be aware of where they are and avoid confrontation with them. So be careful.